Hey friends, a new work week has started for us. Bitcoin is starting off with a drop as the court attack actually began at the end of last week amid data that we will definitely discuss in detail today. Bitcoin isn't the only one taking a hit. The S&P 500 is falling too. On the contrary, I would say the S&P 500 is falling and everything else follows. Today, we are waiting for the American market to open to see the reaction. Nevertheless, we will start with Bitcoin. Moving to the charts if you are still not subscribed. Subscribe and don't do anything below this video. I highly recommend subscribing to my new Telegram channel. It features crucial information, important updates, and news that you don't want to miss to stay effective in the crypto market. Go ahead and subscribe. The link is under the video material, Alex Crypto file. But this is a transition, meaning let's start with Bitcoin. I want to draw your attention to what happened. Much of what we expected and discussed has come to pass. So what did we see in previous reviews? A price channel where Bitcoin was moving very precisely from the lower boundary to the upper one, and it stayed there for quite a while. Accordingly, at the moment of the last movement, here we had an interesting event occur because, on one hand, we broke through the white trend line, which I have marked. In the second instance, we went above the 85,600 level and started trading above it for 3 days. What is perhaps most important to note is that we successfully broke above the 200-day moving average. This raised the question of what would happen next. We had several key moments. I assumed that the most advantageous setups for me would be to look for long entry points below. Currently, we see Bitcoin declining, so let's recall the setups we had. The first zone that could potentially be interesting for us is level 8, $1,000 respectively. What did I say about this? That it makes sense to look at log positions locally here. If you believe in the lower boundary, then why is the level of the lower boundary of this channel not significant for us? After all, the volume level is a support zone. If we break this level, then we should only look for positions in this purple box. For me, the key zone is the $78,000 to $79,000 range, which is the lower boundary of this purple box, and then the $74,000 level. So now let's take a moment to discuss once more, first of all, why and what exactly happened. Breakthrough. At $84,000, we are once again falling below the trend line. Note that we not only fell below it, but also returned to confirm the breach, and are now continuing to move downward. In the second zone here, for example, we are standing at $82,000. On one hand, we are held here by the low point. Yes, we reached it, and we might bounce upwards. There is such a possibility, but now we are experiencing a reverse reaction. Firstly, we are controlled from above. Secondly, we have a resistance zone, and thirdly, we have a significant volume level marked in yellow. So at 4, we have the 200-day moving average, and all of this now acts as resistance zones from above. Therefore, if we open a position, we need to assume that some kind of bounce should occur, and we will get a decent upside. And accordingly, from the $82,000 zone, here, it's not clear where to place the stop, right here. Well, then we'll kind of have a 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio when reaching $92,000, which is simply financially unviable. However, when we reach the 7,879 zone, we have a relatively short stop and a clear upside in the $86,000 zone. We will achieve a 1-to-3 position in the 90-92 zone. We will achieve a 1-to-6 position, which is normal from a mathematical expectation standpoint. Therefore, in the current zone, if desired, one might consider where to place your stop and what your target is. Accordingly, right now, my key expectation for Bitcoin is this is the opening of new positions in the $78,000 to $79,000 range, which is the lower boundary of the purple box approximately here. Why will we be waited for here? A fairly large support zone. Here, a local low was established, and accordingly, these levels will continue to be defended. Accordingly, the $74,000 zone is crucial for 2 key long positions. Regarding short positions, I will start accumulating from the $76,000 zone and then every $1,000 down. $76,000, $75,000, $74,000, $73,000. And for myself, I will consider the most advantageous purchases to be made in the $63,000 to $73,000 range. If we manage to buy there, I will consider those purchases to be quite advantageous. Why are we giving this attention now? Let's talk about it. But first, a quick traditional reminder. If you're trading, always use a quality exchange. For many years, the exchange Beatty has been a reliable partner for me. If you don't have an account yet, use the link under this video and promo code 24,676 to register and potentially get up to $30,000 in bonuses on your first deposit. This isn't financial advice. I just really like the product and recommend you give it a try. Yes, yes, no, no, whether you like it or not. Plus, not so long ago, we launched a trading chat for those who trade using my referral link. It's essentially a space without any spam. Here, there's an exclusive work atmosphere, a trading garden, opposition, and analytics. All of this is available to you for free. The link will lead you to the Market Chat computer. Join us. But now let's move on. So before we talk about the global scenario, I want to talk a little bit about the decline and why it might have happened. We can't be 100% sure, but nevertheless, last week we received the actual data, and it is important to note that we now have the value. The previous values were 2 and 7, and the expectation was 2 and 7%. We received actual data of 2 and 8 respectively, and given that inflation is higher than expected, which caused the market to tumble. Let's see the market open at 500 so you understand what happened at the end of last week, and moreover, naturally dragged everything along with it. Besides this, an interesting change occurred for us. We have expectations regarding the key rate for the Fed rate. Previously, we had expected a 25 basis point cut on June 18th and another 25 basis point cut in July. However, after the new data came out, those expectations significantly changed. Now, it's not us who are expecting July. The market is anticipating a federal pause, and that's why we're declining. What's particularly interesting at this moment is that we're eagerly waiting for the American market to open so we can observe its reaction. If the S&P 500 manages to hold steady at this current level, we might witness a local rebound. However, it is more likely that we'll experience a local decline, and if we drop below the critical level of 5,484, the next target for the S&P 500 is projected to be 5,160. When the S&P 500 reaches the zone of 5,160, we will see Bitcoin at the $74,000 mark with a guaranteed probability of 10 to the 9th power percent or 100%. There is no probability of 99.9%. So these are roughly my expectations from the market, that means. As for global opinions, based on this, my ideal picture of the development of events would be a gradual and steady decline in the value of Bitcoin. It will not be a quick decline, and it will reach a zone somewhere around 63,000. Then, there will be some trading activity at this level, and it is only at the beginning of next year that we will see a rise to new historical highs. I envision this as quite a prolonged development, and this is at the current moment. Of course, I might change my mind as things evolve, and the market might change. Everything could be different, but right now, this is the scenario I see as having the most advantages. Reaching a very important volume level where we traded for half a year, institutional investors entered the market, and significant capital came in. The picture for Bitcoin will change, and we may never again see the 60%, 70%, or 80% declines from the highs that we were used to, such as Bitcoin at $30,000. Potentially, we may never see this again. Something like this, I'm thinking right now, surely I've made some mistakes. These are just my thoughts and arguments at the moment. If you found this useful, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, give a like. Share your thoughts and questions in the comments below. I'll answer them in the next episodes. Until then, wishing everyone all the best. Bye-bye.